Eee! Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield. I'm a professional dancer, professional dance choreographer, and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States. And we're going to be taking a look at round 3, match 4 of D.LEAGUE. It is Valuence Infinities versus Dip battles. So this is going to be really fun to see. I do know that with Valuence, they do tailor a lot more towards the hip-hop breaking aesthetic, not quite so far as Koze 8 Rocks, but and we do know Koze 8 Rocks is definitely not having a match during round 3, but they do carry that kind of tone, and DIP battles can really handle more of that hip-hop posture as well as a little bit of other style representation. So that's going to be really interesting to see which ones bring what concepts, because remember, as we've noticed with these rounds, everyone's good. So just because you got a shot out in one round doesn't mean that you're smoothly sailing through every round that you have. So I would say a great example is Katakawa Dreams. They had a phenomenal round in round 2, getting a shutout, and then in round 3 they got shut out. So the thing is, they had a great set both times, but it's just who they were against, you know, and just the overall how they chose to perform, and a little bit of mix of all other things, of different factors. But I definitely cannot wait to take a look at this. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a watch. Interesting. Oh, that was cool. A little bit of house and grain in there. Nice. Hey. Nice. That was fun. Eee! That was a cool syncopation with that double. Hey, hey. Nice. Woo! Oh my gosh, why did they cut it? I needed to see that. What happened? Oh man, that's frustrating. That's cool. Nice. Nice. Hey. Ooh, that was nice. That was nice. With the add-on right here. Super fun. Woo! Some of the risk taking on some of these drops is amazing. I do think we are seeing a little bit of a sidewalk pretty often, at least about 3 times now, you know? So I think that's just an in general little note on this. Let me see, we're going from the tippy top. I will say, side note, whenever you see that thumbnail, it says round 3, it's showing a Katakawa thumbnail from round 2, so it throws me off for a second. I'm like, I am on the right round. I am. It's just the thumbnail they chose to promote the round in the live stream. That's what that was. Okay, so from the top, I think that was really fun. I'm curious about what DIP is going to bring. For me, I don't know if it's dip battles or DIP battles, because for their crew preview, it was a DIP, you know, and so it gave off that energy. But then when the commentator, not commentator, but whenever the whenever you have the announcer guy, he's like, dip battle. So I'm like, I don't know. But anyway, going from the top here, I'm very curious what they're going to bring. All that to say, dip battles. I like how they started in reverse. So nice. Look at how stable he is. That's just really fun. And this was disgustingly great. Do you see just the legato and how he chose to do this body roll in his wave? So sick. The walking through, part of me wishes we had a little bit more refinement of spacing. That would have really made that look very captivating when when we chose to go backwards or forwards, but I like the effect nonetheless. That right there with the swing down and having him from that headstand and melt down just like them, and then starting right there into the set. I love it. Really nice. Notice whenever they do their rotation, they land on one leg. Great stability risk on that, and then they chose to bring it around. Nice little thread moment, little rotation on that. Love it how they chose to go down. Nice on the kicks with a little baby kick. Not really a hitch kick, which is something similar to that. Dropping it around. Notice though, because of the type of rock or range that they're demonstrating, it is tricky to get everybody on the same page. We do see some baby discrepancies between each member in how they're choosing to do their rotations, in how they're choosing to kick in and kick out. So that's just in a general note. Notice some of them it took them quite a second just to drop down on the ground. I would say he went a little bit too late compared to his other two counterparts. Also, notice that with his leg, it's kind of set more towards the inside versus inline towards the front. Not front, towards the back. So that would be my general note. Bringing it through, they're bringing it down. That part was just like little baby intention of refinement, would have really taken that a long way. Then going right here, now you would see that they're about to do like a kip up, but they don't. Instead, they rotate it back into like a hollow back variation, which is super sick, and they roll it back down. I don't know if they were trying to do the exact same thing, not sure, but even notice when they're rocking, there's your little rubber band or your kip up, rolling it down. I love that, where they roll and they go kip up, roll back down, and then you have this moment here where they're just suspending, then they drop, boom, right there on that down bounce. That base is really nice. Sidewalk, doo-doo-doo, to kind of get them to switch in their transition. Love the switch of the feet right there. Love that little, it's similar to like a little Roger Rabbit on that. So this is a great example of what I was expecting. You have some hip hop foundation with a lot of breaking and threaded between. Honestly, the best two styles to go together because they're the same style. Love it. Hitting it through, I love his boom, da-da-da, and just nice and groovy, like a whole vibe and a half. It's definitely great to see. Now, because they got the torso and the legs in check, their arms have a little bit more freedom because they've already justified synchronicity with those two counterpoints that I've already mentioned in that section. That's why that works. Then I love how he switch places that boom-da-doo, pas-da-boo raise, or you could call it a loose leg. I love how they picked it up, brought it around for a little pas-da-boo raise, touching it down with a nice little sidewalk, bringing it through. Touching it down once again. Very interesting on these choices to kind of spiral through between each other. That was cool, that doo-doo with the reset, dropping it down, allowing somebody to bleed through the front, having a little freestyle moment. They drop down, but notice not everybody's on the same page on where their head's supposed to go. Are they supposed to stay down? Are they supposed to rotate down to the side? We're not entirely sure. So that'll be my in general note that I would give them there. Doo-doo. Love that, having that throw with the head boom, doo-doo. It's baby spacing thing right here. But it could be, no, it's not. I thought he was going to put himself there. Spacing just a little bit off here compared to the rest of the group, but it's not even a huge issue. I love this moment of how he's choosing to complement what's going on with the rest of the group. Love that. Yeah, that boom, doom, doom, then we drop it back down. Really fun to see. Right here, back to the pas-da-boo raise. Notice that we're just building up the energy. Da-da-da-dun, da-dun-dun. It's just so beautiful. Love with those toe taps. So nice. Oh, did you see that little swivel with the heel? That was so sick. Picking it up. Love just the chill vibes we're getting from this. Bringing it around. Love that. Bringing the leg around all the way through. Then we're switching it out. Down, bringing it down, dropping it. Let's go. I love that to hit, bringing it back to have a little thread moment. I love it. Maybe even a swipe. I'm not quite entirely sure. That right there. God, I was so mad. I can't believe they cut that. You know? Did he hurt himself? I don't know, but it's nice to see this energy happen on the side. This was super sick. That little do-do-do-do-do. Syncopation at its finest. God, I love it. And this nice slowness. It had a little sensualness behind it. It was sick, though. Sliding through great thread. Bringing it around. Now, notice we're having a little bit more... Bringing it through, boom, 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 boom. Notice that they hit it, cross it behind, axe it behind, then hit the base with a double base coming near the front. Really nice to see. Really focusing more on, you know, hip hop, more of that hip hop posture on this, and I love that part. Dropping it down, do. Really love with the waving, dropping it down, syncopating it down to the knees, having one of them accent, do with that double hit. Super nice to see. A little gliding. Honestly, I think I would cater that more towards popping influence than hip hop influence, but they definitely had a hip hop legato groove happening there. I love those. Very nice. with the spins are super sick. Then having the variance on that, one of them going up, one of them staying down, and bringing it through, dragging the foot. Love it, switching. Love the little barrel jump on that. Hitting that don and bringing it down back to front. I love the energy they have here. Very full. God, this is cool. This is really good on the style side. So there's a chance they could be very competitive on that, in that category specifically, because that's exactly what I would say. That's how I felt about DYM Messengers. That really pulled for them in their round, was that exact thing. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. I love how he did like a reverse kind of jazz split here, and he pulled it back and allowed this jump energy to happen across, and they created a nice little pathway for him to have his moment. Great levels represented. I do wish they were a little bit more still. This add-on was freaking sick. I loved it because you went from one person, went to two, then you had somebody else pop in, and then you got a couple of them about to pop off over on stage right. Love that. How he drops down. Really interesting way that he was the lowest one, but it was so seamless how he chose to get up to do these variants of the rock and the bounce. I love it. And having them rock down, I say that's a couple of them didn't quite commit to that rock as much as they could have here. So that would be my general note there. Everybody else pretty much surviving it out. It's a whole vibe. Pulling it down, boom, boom, boom. Love that. We bring it all the way down. That little swipe and a swipe, which is super dope. Love that. Woo! That was super sick. That little tuck and that drop. Such risk taking. God, it's amazing. And having everybody turn, and then dropping back down, having those two have that moment again, having one of them stand up to hop over. He gets to create a really nice moment for himself. Everybody's kind of low. My overall note for this, though, is this has happened a couple times now where they have a feature, everyone else is very still. There was one time where they kind of accented with the head. Loved that. I wish we had more of those moments instead of them just being still and kind of dropping to the side. That's my general note for that. Read it down right there, diving right in. How they set up was slightly different, but I love that everybody got together in that section. They rolled up nice right there into the farmer. Love it right there into the sidewalk once again, and the house step. So that would be my note, is maybe vary up how you choose to do your sidewalk, because we saw it 3 times in 3 different places. It's a fingerprint. It's really nice every time they do it. That's just in general note. Bringing it through. I love that boom, that tension. Turning it around, and they finish. Boom. Really nice. So in general, this was a really nice set. Very curious to see what DIP brings to the table. Without further ado, let's take a watch. No soul, yes soul. Wow. We're diving into disco era now, baby. Let's go. Soul Train. Woo! Nice. Okay. Ooh, that was cool. Nice. Okay. I enjoyed that moment. I do feel like that prep for what he was going for wasn't quite as, as effective as it needed to be. I love this. That's just so chaotic. My goodness. The commitment there was pretty cool. Throwing it through. Love that. They're literally just falling out of stuff. Okay. Oh, that was nice. Nice. Nice feature moment there. That was nice. Okay. Okay, so I do appreciate what they were going for on this. There is a big note I want to say though. Whenever you're purposefully trying to come across like you're making mistakes, you have to make sure when you guys are not making mistakes, you are so clean, you are very clear in your intention, or it's gonna feel like, ooh, it feels like we're trying to pursue a concept that's not working as well as it needs to. So we're gonna go from the top and take a look at this. From the top here. This did feel very short too. Didn't it feel that way to you guys? So it's nice to be able to have this kind of little social setup. It's really enjoyable. I enjoyed it. I don't know if he's a special performer. Not entirely sure. They may talk about it because they seem to be pretty familiar with a lot of the people who are regular members of the teams. So I do like the essence of what they're trying to come across. I just think that the cleanliness was definitely not as refined as it needed to be for a concept they were going for. This right here, even there with the head, some of the range was slightly off. Bringing it down, boom, boom, boom. Bringing it out, showcasing a little bit of that locking influence on that. Love this here, diving it down. Really nice to see. Oh yeah, no soul, yes soul. I would say it's in reference to Soul Train. I think it's giving off the energy, that D. Love that. And then having the people in the back happen on the side. And then my front travel. It's really nice to see. Bringing it through. I love the energy of that where we have all of them kind of do something slightly different, but it's still in a proper dynamics. Right here, really nice to see this here. They have to be careful. Notice the range was off between the two, especially when you're going into, I think it was like a 6-step, I think, possibly maybe a variant of that. But they were slightly off on the rotation of it, which is why it didn't feel as clean as it needed to be, especially if you're going to go with making it look like you're making mistakes when you're really not. You know, it's part of your act. I love the energy that he's bringing, really full, and everybody's matching it very well. Right there into the jack, super fun. Traveling it over. Notice that even here with the arms coming up and down, it's not very clear. Could be because of the outfits that they are wearing. That could be a huge indicator of that. So that's an in general thing to keep in mind whenever you deal with fringe or other textiles in your outfits. You can run into the problem of how certain angles come across all look a little bit different. So that's why, like I've mentioned in many times before, that's why sometimes you have groups that wear the exact same thing, because it's going to help in terms of what is it? It's going to help make it look cleaner, but you do sacrifice individuality by doing that sometimes. But here, really nice seeing that front walkover with the one hand. That was nice. She hops in, they all go, wow, and then they all rotate around. That was a really cool moment with your breaker having their position, but instead of going back, they actually tailored it more towards the front. Yeah, he goes, they rock back, but they keep it where it is instead of really popping it over. That was really fun for them to have that hinge moment. Really nice to see dropping it down. Beautiful with the freeze. That was such a gorgeous variant there. This part, once again, range looks pretty off. Even if they were wearing the same thing, I can kind of tell they're not using the same energy to get some of these things across, like a lot of the, like hitting the parts of the syncopation the way that it needs to. Dropping it down really nice, just from overhead, bringing it down. Nice, I love that. Really nice, definitely in cadence to Soul Train. Enjoyable. Now we're running. Now, I don't know if that was like an Easter egg for something. Potentially, I'm not entirely sure. For me, when you notice how far he ran and he just slid, I feel like that was a bit underwhelming, and that can kind of take your audience a bit on a, aw, you know, and you really want to kind of avoid that. If you're going to set up for an amazing astronomical moment, and the moment is just you sliding on your knees, it can be anticlimactic, and that can work against you when you're in a match. You know, him having his moment there, it does feel a bit more sporadic, but he could be emulating a particular individual. We got to chalk it up to that potentially. Lighting didn't really work in our favor here. In that case, was pretty dim there, so he really couldn't quite see what was going on. But this right here, he goes back, that do-do-do syncopation with the drums. I love that. He goes, he takes her, he throws her, drops her down into the split. I love that everybody's branching everyone away. It's very chaotic but structured. But here's the thing though, it just goes back to, because they didn't really set up the cleanliness as successful as I think they needed to in order to prove when they really did break this energy, or like make it look like they're all falling apart, that would have made it feel way more successful in the delivery. For me, it kind of felt like we were escalating, or it just felt like a really extroverted version of symptoms we were already showcasing in the beginning. So I think that's just my general note for this. It's such a risk to go with a concept like this, or like a sub-concept within this concept. Concept's great. I just think like going over like making these mistakes or making it look mistaked, there's so many other factors that have to be heightened and made aware in order for it to give the appearance of it working. You know what I mean? Dropping it down, the boom, boom, having somebody low, and then bringing it up. Now we have people, we're still continuing with that, people collapsing, falling out of stuff. I think there's a moment and beauty for it, but if we continue it on, it does feel like we're just literally throwing a set together. It's kind of what it's giving. Is that what their goal was? I have no idea. I mean, it's giving energy, but energy in so many different places, it's really hard for us to translate what is going on. You know, everyone's still doing their own thing. And then right here, I know we were supposed to kind of have our own, you know, bring everybody back together, but because not everybody is using their torso the same way, they're not bringing and actually extending in the proper directions in the way that they need to in order to make that look nice and tight compared to the chaos they just ensued previously. That's why this felt a little bit more, it does feel very social, but remember, this is a competition with a choreography toolkit. It's not like a house party. It's not a club. It's a competition stage. And so synchronicity and skill sets and perfection is going to be a category. And right now they are kind of saying, who needs that score? Who needs that category? So I find creativity in this, but also they're sacrificing a lot of other categories to really showcase this concept, which I think is pretty detrimental, unfortunately. Hitting it down, notice some of them are not fully extending on their snaps to match everybody in energy. I think that's my point. Of course, to each their own in the interpretation when you have the schema framework of movement, but you have to remember when you're doing unison, that's something that you look at. And because they haven't really given us a ton of unison, we are more keen on what does their unison look like? Does it feel like it's being infiltrated by the other chaoticness of the set in a good way or a bad way, you know? So those are little things. Their spacing looks pretty fine. Bringing it down, really nice to see that. Bringing it through. They do have a breaker. I like the fact we get to see the breaker, but is the breaker doing enough complexity to help in comparison to what type of complexity we saw in the breaking from Valuence Infinities? We don't know, you know. With a turn, that was really nice to see. They all had the energy, bringing it around, bringing it through. Nice little line right here. Love that. It's super fun. Ding, ding, ding. Nice little do-do-do-do with the foot. Super fun. Nice. Like the energy. Boom, boom, and a boom, boom. Dropping it down. So this was a nice variant here, but notice here, it's what is it? What's the right word? Let me go back and see if I can formulate a better phrase. I really like whenever they hinge over with a little step out. So that's super fun. It does feel very communal. And I think that's exactly what they were going for, you know? And then having the feature once again, he is nice, but honestly too, you could be like, it feels that we're not refining anything, or we're not allowing everybody, wow, goodness, what's the best way to word this? I'm not really exposed to this that often, so it's really hard for me to figure this out. Dropping, doing the knee drops, and then bringing them up. It is nice. Yeah, once again, have that chaotic energy, then bring it back down to more synchronicity. This is definitely a lot cleaner, but notice one of our guys is just, his setup's a little bit on the slower side. It could be our breaker of the set. His style is more breaking in comparison to locking or the funk. You can kind of tell that here because he has a little bit, how he's choosing to engage through. A lot of the movement isn't as powerful, or the energy is displaced. So I think there's that there, and then we turn, he goes, ah! Boom, 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 the cheers. So that was really, I mean, it was enjoyable. Do I think that could have overtaken Valuence? Part of me may be a little surprised if that's the case. So here's what I'm going to do. I think that the audience picked Valuence, and I think the judges picked Valuence too. I think Valuence won this one because when you look at the categories, because once again I did look at categories: skill, creation, choreo, style, and perfection. Do I know the sub justifications of these categories? No, I could not find that. They do not have it on the website, nor do I know anybody who could implore that to me, and that's okay. With perfection, I'm assuming it's synchronicity. Yeah, that's what I would go for there. Style has to do with overall essence and presence of the styles you choose to represent. If you're doing Vogue, how authentic is your Vogue that you're presenting? Choreography, is your choreography complete? Do you have levels? Do you have dynamics, you have transitions, stability choices, things like that. That would be more on your choreography side. It would be my assumption. Creation could stem from creativity. It was your concept or your choices getting in and out of places, your music, was there something abnormally creative about it, and your skill. For this one, that's really tricky. That can kind of bleed over into other things. Is it your proficiency at the particular style you're doing? Not the authenticity, but the proficiency of it, difficulty of it. Don't quite know. But for me, I feel like kind of have a gist of all the other ones. Style, I think Valuance took. Creation, potentially dip battles, because this is so off the wall that it could really work in their favor. Perfection, Valuance, I think took that one, because this one kind of felt like anti-perfection. Let me see. In choreo, I also think Valuance, they had significantly more structure. I think there was one too many, possibly two too many chaotic moments. And they didn't they didn't separate the chaotic from the structured enough to make it feel intentional. It kind of felt like we threw the routine together, and not in a good way, not in a conceptual way. So I think that may potentially work against them. Do I think it's a shutout? I don't have any confidence in routines if they're shutouts or not. We're gonna because I can't think in the eyes of the audience. I'm not there, nor am I not one of the judges. I just have a background in how to look at criteria and look at routines, but I know even sometimes the judges, not all but some, don't quite look at the routines as objectively as I think they could at times, because they do refer to past events to justify scoring outside of the basic context of just biting. I think it's really the only appropriate way to factor that in. But we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take a look at the judges' commentary.
シンクロ率が高い状況なんですけど、シンプルにダンスが見やすくて。
So I said Valuance took both audience and most of the judges.
Round 3, fourth match. Valuence Infinities versus Dip Battles.
Dip Battles! Shout out. Shout out. Does it shock me at all? It doesn't. I don't have confidence in shout outs, but I mean, it was kind of showing symptoms of that, not gonna lie. It doesn't surprise me at all. I'm very curious what they're gonna say here. Oh, who does she give? Creation. I told you guys, what did I say? I said out of anything, the creativity could swing to dip on some of this, because it's just so, so off the wall. Perfection, yeah, that perfection score should be looking pretty low for dip battles. Wow, 2 shutouts in a row. Because match 3 was also a shutout.
本当にもうストリートダンスっていうものでっていうふうにおっしゃってたんですけれども、もうそれを自信を持って表現しているなっていうことと、ヒップホップのもういわゆるのロジャーラビットが出てきた。
Yeah, the Roger Rabbit variant was really, really cool. I agree. They had a huge enmeshment between hip hop, breaking, and house.
すごくドスンドスンこう突き刺さったパフォーマンスで、音はシンプルだけど構成だったりとか、見せ場の持っている
I still hate the fact they cut the camera the way that they did.
とても見えて、スピーディーさ、迫力とかっていうので全体のまとまりとして、とても心地よくドスドスきた感じで、あっという間に圧巻みたいな感じで終わったショーだったなっていう印象でした。ティップバトルズ全体の熱量が、皆さんのメンバーさんのこう勢い、こうわーっと飛び込んでくる感じだったりとかの熱量が素晴らしくて、であと私衣装のバランスがすごく好きでしたね。それぞれにヘアだったりとか似合うものをチョイスして着てらっしゃる、そこも含めて楽しんでいるっていうのがすごく伝わって、そこはとても好きでした。伝えたいもの、弾けるもの、そこを伝えたかったんだと思うんですけれども、それが意外と自分たちの中に収まってしまった。もっと欲しかったっていう感じですかね。自分たちの 中ですごくわってなっている感じをこう遠巻きに私見てしまったみたいなところがあって、もっとこう連れて行かれたかったっていう印象があったので、でも完成度っていうか、その自分たちがやりたい、自分たちが表現したいものはこれなんだっていう力をすごい感じられて、でだからもっともっとなんか自分たちらしさを追求してもっと見せてほしいな、次どんなの見せてくれるのっていう期待。
They really did choose to hit such individuality on this. They said screw the perfection on this.
本当心苦しいんですけれども、私はValuence Infinities の方に入れさせていただきました。
Agreed. Agreed. Oh, yeah, very, very clear on that. Give him skill creation and choreo, all 10s. He is not afraid to give 10s out, and I find that to be very interesting, because for me, I would be, that would have to be like the best I've ever seen at that point in time to give a 10. Like, you know, very rarely would I give a 10 on anything. You know, even in HHI, it's really hard to even get an 8 out of 10 just with how itemized the point values are. So it just bewilders me when people give perfect scores for things. Because I don't.
ケインがリーダーで、テーマもダンスで、みんなのスタイルを生かしたこうショーをするっていう、コンセプトでやっていたってことだったんですけども、みんなのスタイルが本当にこう途切れることなくつながっていくっていうのをすごい見てて気持ちが良かったし、インフィニティーズは、ね、自分たちのスタイルで見せることに慣れてきたし、どんどん踊りやすくなってきてるんじゃないかなと思って、ここで D リーグで慣れてきて、ケインに入った動きもまた新鮮だし、インフィニティーズのなんか色が出てきましたね。なんかね、その対するリップバトルズ、オールスクールのイメージだったのかな、なんかでかっこよかったんですけどね、ミュージカル風だったりとか、いろんなコンセプトが入っていて、意外と内容的にちょっとシンプルだったのかなと思って。
A little simple in terms of content. I would have, okay, he said it feels simple in terms of content. I would say that when they chose to actually do content like together, because it was so structured, it was just very individualized, and they really try to go off of a lot of syncopation and the social aspect of it. They did have a slightly bit more complexity in their units and sections, but it just wasn't nearly as refined. I think when it comes to groove, though, Valuence took it through and through.
良かったんですけど、イメージ的にはシンプルに見えて、この対戦だけやっぱちょっとインフィニティーズの方が良かったかな。
Because let me tell you this is actually a really great example of something. If you put Katakawa against Dip Battles, Katakawa would win out of the two. But once again, though, Katakawa was against Benefit One Monolese, and Valuence Infinities was against Dip Battles. Now my question would be, if you put Monolese set against Valuence Infinities set, it would be closer. There's a chance that Valuence could have pulled it out. I actually don't know. It could be, I mean, it's a situation when DYM Messengers overtook Royal Brats, even though Royal Brats got audience, because of their groove. Do you know what I mean? So I'm very curious as to whenever we have those teams meet, because I don't think they've went up against each other yet. Oh no, they did last round, and Valuence took it. That's right. That was like the really interesting one. So I'm glad we got to see that. For me, the match I'm looking forward to is Valuence Infinities versus Koze 8 Rocks. I'm really looking forward to that immensely. I truly am. So I feel though, once again, I told you, that's, hold on, style. She gave style to Dip Battles. Interesting. Huh.
スタイル、ブレイキンとでヒップホップとでハウスを混ぜて。
Actually, it looks like she's not wearing a necklace. She just has a gem right there.
自分たちでこうレベルをまずテーマから上げてきたなと思ったんですけれども、まず最初にこう倒立から始まってで回るのかなと思いきや こう内側からこう根っこから湧き出るような
Gosh, it's so cool.
最初から私は
So this just goes back to it's who you're up against. I think was my main point that I was giving. Your groove is sick on
ほ
this.
とんど今回見せ切ったのでむちゃくちゃかっこいいなと思いました。でフロアで見せる瞬間がすごく多いのと背中で、
That's true. They were using very creative ways to ride that bass or to showcase that bass to continue into a new phrase.
あったんですけど
Love that.
一体感がもう本当に私の中で
Yes, the pot to be raised. Let's go.
フロアでさえも彼らに
Or you could also call it an OG, an OG loose leg.
させてくれたのが
God, that was gorgeous.
すごくドキドキした、瞬間が続いていて腰からの動きがすごく上手なんですよね。ただただこう足でステップするだけじゃなくて腰からの流れでステップをこう続けて見せ続ける。でなおかつすごい難しいことをしているのにシンクロ率が高い。それぞれのリスペクト感であったりとか
Synchronization, I would say for some of the choices they were making, it's really difficult to get in sync with each other, but there's major room for improvement on synchronicity though.
ちょっとこうアフリカンな曲
They did dance very well.
されていて私の中ではまたそれが人間としてドキドキさせてくれる、曲だなと思いました。とても素敵でした。ディップバトルズさんなんですけれどもソウルの解放というテーマだったのでどんな感じで来るんだろうってもっとこう世界観作って持ってくるかなってちょっとこう神秘的な方で自分の中では感じてたんですけれどまさかの最初ソウルの解放とソウルダンスを混ぜてきたところが私の中ではすごく面白いなと思いました。でソウルダンスからの
With locking. That's what really gave Soul Train to me. And that goes back to this too. Not a single one of them has mentioned Soul Train at all.
その解放っていうのが
And that's where you get into concepts. Like for me, I can see how they could get more creativity because of the concept they're going for, but that's why you don't judge concept as your main factor for a category. And I know they're not, but it can be a bigger factor, especially if they know what they're going for. Like a bigger influence in their score.
アドバイスとして私の中で感じたのはその解放して皆さんがツラでわーって踊ってから途中からユニゾンに皆さんがつながるんですけれどもそこがこう一度グッとこう詰まる瞬間が、見えてしまったなと思ったのでその皆さんが解放した流れから自然とユニゾンに、持っていけるとなおかつ一体感がさらに生まれたんじゃないかなと思います。はい、でもとても楽しいショーを見させていただけたなと思います。なので今回バリュエンスインフィニティズさんに入れさせていただきました。
Katsuya.
僕は、
Oof, yeah.
バリエンスインフィニティさんの方に
So I guess out of all the judges, like I said, Katsuya and I think are the most similar in terms of what we look at.
自分もすごいなっていうふうに思いましたね。直球っちゃ直球なんですけど深いというか、そこでどういうショーを見せてくるのかなっていうまず期待感がまずあったんですけどまず上下というかこう床にいたり立ったりあとは飛んだりっていう上下の使い方がとてもうまいなっていうふうに思いました。でこれも DV がいれば飛んだり床に入ったりっていうのが
Oh, that sequence was so nice.
トップの人間だったりハウスやってるケン君だったりとかも何の
They did house with a hip hop pocket, guys. That was so sick. That's why that worked.
これもいけるよみたいな。しかもその、上下の生き方がバリエンの用語だとトランジションって言うんですけどただ飛ぶんじゃなくてそれだと誰でもできるんでどういう風にっていうのがすごい大事だと思うんですけどただ床に入るだけじゃなくてそう入んのねとかそう上がってくる
Yeah.
全体のタイミングを
Gosh, that's so awesome.
そう上げ下げするみたいな妙っていうかそこがすごい上手くてまず何よりそこが印象に残ってます。後半に行くにつれて こう BPM が上がっていきながら、なんか僕の勝手な見てる印象だと
That's true, yeah.
どんどんちょっとハウスっぽくなっていったりとか、なんかアフリカンとかアフロ
When you hear other, yeah, when they introduced other sounds into the track and other rhythms into the track, it helped change and reset the tone and made it enhanced. Because you notice with the little breakaways in the features, those are really nice. And now they finished it. Also, I didn't even note that. Notice at that tail end, some of them had it glued to their head and some of them had it extended. That would have been something to adjust with the shoulders. I like Katsuya. I think there was just a couple things at the beginning of his first description of the first group. Just to be weary of, but liberation of the soul.
本当にまずそれが第一印象なんですけど、一番最初にこう始まってちょっとこうガーって暴れというかあった後にフィルと合わせる部分があったと思うんですけど、グルーヴの動きのがなんか入るのかなと思いきや、意外になんかそれ以降はガンガンもう勢いでいっちゃうみたいな印象がありました。なんで結構もうちょっとなんかそういう抜きじゃないですけど、なんかダンスというか、いやもちろんダンスなんですけど、全員がパッてこう合うような部分も見たかったなっていうのがあったりはしますね。まあでもなんか要所要所でレイ君のショーのソロてかまあ使い方もうまかったですし、下手側からこう上手の方にグワーってなんか滑ってソロもなんか面白いことやってんなっていうふうに思いましたけど、あそこも一個の見せ場だとは思うんで、なんかもうちょっとこうなんか見せきれたらよかったなとかも思ったりも。
See, you see what he just said was the exact thing that I just said. You should have just showcased something a little bit more besides the run and the slide.
ですけど、一個の作品で見たときに、その中でももうちょっとまとまりというかっていうのがあってくれたら、僕的には点数がもうちょっと違ったかなっていうふうに思ってます。
If it was more cohesive, the score could have been different. Oh, show!
に関してはバリエンスインフィニティーズさんの方に票を入れました。
私はバリエンス。
Oh my gosh! Oh, she scored them very low. 5!
というシンプルなテーマだったんですけど、やっぱりそのダンスを見せるって逆に難しいかなっても思っていたんですけど、本当にシンプルにダンスが見やすくて構成も見やすくてスーッと入ってくる作品だったなという印象です。ところどころにこう身体能力の高さだったりとか、音に対するアプローチ、
It's definitely the physicality more. It's very physically demanding for sure.
ソロだったりとか個人スキルに対しての周りのあり方だったりとか、それに対するこうアクションがすごくこう面白くあって、こういう一人踊ってる後ろで首を動かしてるところだったりとか、一人がやってるところの周りでの動きっていうのがすごくこう作り方が面白いなと思って、すごい工夫されてる作品だったなと感じました。ディップバトルスさん、このソウルという歴史の長いソウルというものをテーマにしてこう作品を作るってやっぱすごく難しい部分もあると思いますし、全体的に何がしたいのかっていう理解をするのにはちょっと時間がかかったかなっていう、少しこう分かりやすさには欠けてしまったのかなって個人的に思ったりする部分はあったんですけど、見せたいところでパワーのバランスにちょっとばらつきがあってしまったりとかっていう部分もあったんですけど、でもこうパワー、このメンバーさんのこう若さあふれるパワーといいますかっていうのはすごくこう響くものもあったと思うので、もっともっと頑張ってほしいなって思いました。なので私はバリエンスインフィニティーズさんに出させていただきました。
Yeah, I mean, so there you have it. It's another shutout right there. Do I feel that match 2 should have also been a shutout? Yes. Cyber Agent versus Sega Sammy. I'm still shocked that audience picked Sega Sammy. It was still a great set, but my point still just, I was just so confident with that and I was just so off. But anyway, I mean, we had some very drastic scoring in this one in comparison to, honestly, round 1. Everybody pretty much got the same score with the exception maybe like one or two matches, but everybody else had like 4-2. This one we have 2 shutouts in a row. and you have one that was almost a shutout. The closest match was DYM versus Royal Brass, and that was a 4-2. So, like, we are not dealing with ties, it feels like, right now in round 3. It's very drastic, but I mean, I feel like a lot of groups are going to have great weeks and off weeks. It just kind of depends on who are members in it, the turnaround time, what's going on in their lives, things like that. I do know they are professional dancers in the league. It's a professional dance league, so it makes sense. But they are still humans at the end of the day, and they can't keep pumping out perfect looking routines all the time. You know, I do feel like we're seeing the most human routines out of the entire league so far. And it could just be maybe they have more prep time between round 1, round 2 versus round 3. But I am looking forward to seeing some incredible performances moving forward for the rest of the matches. I think you got 2 more for this round, and then I got 4 and 5, and then 6 is about to air around the time that I'm recording this. You know, just it's in a couple days, so I'm trying to really crack down and play catch up. Hopefully I will be there for real time for round 7. We'll see. I don't know if I can catch round 6 at this time with just the amount of rounds I got, but this has been really fun. Makes total sense, their perspective, and like I said with one of those judges, I think he and I are the closest in how we're viewing the routine. So if you wanted to kind of look at his scoring, that's a really good way to look at it too. So that was kind of cool. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more D.LEAGUE in real time as I record it, you could go check it out on Patreon. I always launch it there first, and then I launch it onto a schedule. Typically, whenever I catch up, it'll probably be about a week after the initial matchups take place. So if you want to get it as soon as, bless it, that was my cat who just messed up the camera. It's fine though. It's pretty much just if you want to see things as I record them. Patreon's great. If you're okay with waiting, YouTube's also great. Discussions are going to happen on both sides. I'm here for all of it. Once again, I'm Jess. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.